Arizona looks to bounce back and get a big victory against ASU, as big a victory as ASU can actually be.
You are Locked On Wildcats, your daily podcast on the Arizona Wildcats. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. Locked on your team every day. This show is brought to you today by FanDuel. You can put down $5 and you get $150 in free plays if your bet hits. Go to FanDuel. Check it out right now. All right. Now, Arizona, obviously, we talked about it on the post-game show yesterday, but Arizona right now is listen, I think it's fair to say at this stage in the game, we kind of know where Arizona is in Big 12 play. And I think that's probably the fourth best team in the conference. That's not necessarily a bad thing because the teams, unlike in the Pac-12, are actually good. So you've got to work backwards from there as well. There is but you look at it though, and you're kind of like, all right, well, Houston is clearly better, in my opinion, than Arizona. Although Arizona, I thought, outplayed Houston at home. But on a neutral court, I think Houston is beating Arizona. I think that's very difficult to dispute. Also, I think it's also fair to say that Arizona could beat any of these teams on a given day. It's not like they are not capable. But I thought watching that game at McHale, I thought it was very difficult to say that that Iowa State wasn't better than Arizona. Again, I get the Caleb Love. I get that Caleb Love also made the big shot. I get all that. I get that Arizona ended up winning, and a win is a win is a win. I get all of that, but at the same time, he is. I don't think that it's really fair to say that. I don't think that it's really fair to say that, we're at the stage now where, Arizona is not quite as good as those teams. Just period, point blank. So that's what you got to look at. But come NCAA tournament time, as we all know, that is a one-game proposition. Guess what? I mean, back in 97, I'm not sure that Arizona would have beat Kansas 6 out of 10 times. It didn't matter because you just had to be able to beat them one time, and then that was then pretty much good to go. Well, you were good to go. So let's talk a little bit, though, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit about ASU. We're going to talk a little bit about go pretty much around the gamut and talk about where Arizona is right now and what Arizona needs to do moving forward. Now, but let's talk about the matter at hand first, and that is ASU. All right. Now, ASU, I would expect this to be Bobby Hurley's last. I would expect this to be Bobby Hurley's last season. I think if you're an ASU fan, I think if you're an ASU fan, I think it's pretty difficult to sit here and say that he is that he's the right guy. As a matter of fact, I don't think that you can sit here and say that he's the right guy. He's not. You watch Bobby Hurley for 5 seconds and you're like, this dude is, I mean, he's actually supposedly not a bad guy off the court, so I'm going to give him that. But at the same point, I also think that's I think it's also fair to say that you're just not going to get anywhere. And plus, his temper tantrum explosions, those are insane. And not only are those temper tantrum explosions insane, though they are they're not conducive. And you saw that when Arizona played ASU. You've seen that how many times this season where ASU is in a game and it looks like they could possibly win, and then Bobby Hurley just goes nuclear and they end up losing the game. It happened here in Tucson, or it happened in Phoenix. I would imagine that it's probably going to happen in Tucson as well. So what do we need to look at here? Because first of all, from an Arizona perspective, Caleb Love. This is a lot of people wanted Joson Sanon instead of Caleb Love. This is going to be another game for Caleb Love to remind people that, hey, I'm better than Joson Sanon. So that will be a big opportunity for the Wildcats to be able to get that and say, all right, this is a big opportunity for him. He certainly showed against ASU that he was a better player than Joson Sanon. He just showed that, and it wasn't even close. Now you could say some people will be like, "Well, Joson Sanon, he's a better pro prospect. He's an okay pro prospect." And sure, even if he is a better pro prospect, who cares? Because that means nothing to me. I'm caring about college basketball. But either way, Caleb Love, he's just not been as good this year as he was the previous season. And there's really no other way to put it. I think that you were hoping that he would come back better. He's done some things better, but overall, he's just not been as good. Last year, he was far from perfect, but he was an All-American type guy. He's not going to make any All-American teams this year. Again, I have a soft spot in my heart for Caleb Love. I like Caleb Love. I think he's a really good dude, and I think and I'm happy that he's on the team. But at the same time, he's regressed. I think that's difficult to sit here and say that hasn't happened, and it just kind of is what it is. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But he's still, you know what? He's got time to be able to. He's got time to be able to, basically redeem himself. Though he's got that opportunity coming up here, and you're hoping that with the you got one more game at gonna have one more game at McHale. That will be a senior night, obviously, and then after that, it's ready to rock and roll. You're going on to the Big 12, or you're going off to Kansas. Then you're going off to the Big 12 tournament from there. So he's going to have every opportunity in the world to be able to, step up and leave a nice, lasting impression for people, especially the ones that don't like him. But he's got to play well in this game. There's nobody on ASU that can guard him. It's going to be senior night. Really want to see him go out I think you'd really like to see him go out playing well. Now, for some of the other players on this team, then it's also going to be interesting. You're going to have again, it's going to be senior night, so there's going to be some other guys that will be honored. Your Trey Townsends, guys like that. So we'll see how that all does play out. But Arizona, though, is better than ASU, and it's better across the board. But Arizona needs to get better play out of guys like Caleb Love and KJ Lewis. Like I said, I like KJ Lewis, but man, he is just maddeningly frustrating on the fouls that he commits. He it, to kind of sum up. The play that he said where he begged Tommy Lloyd to stay in the game so that Tommy Lloyd could come and then or so he picks up his second foul. Says Tommy Lloyd, "Trust me, I got this," and then he fouls the guy before the ball is even inbounded. Like that can't happen. I don't know, don't know what else to say. That can't happen, and it did happen. And it's just plays like that are just incredibly frustrating because KJ can do some really good things. The problem though with KJ is that he does a lot of really silly things out there, and you're kind of like, dude, what were you doing right there? What were you looking at? I mean, what was what? Yeah, no, why did you just do that? And I think that's the part that's just frustrating for so many Arizona fans is that you don't really understand because it's not like he's a dumb basketball player, but I mean, again, I mean, he's got to lead the nation. He absolutely has to lead the nation in fouling 3-point shooters. And, when you do that, you get a reputation. Now that one against Iowa State, that wasn't a foul, but again, you kind of behaved yourself into that situation because it was, you, you know, people, the book is out. I mean, people know that you foul 3-point shooters and it happens quite a bit. So they were hunting for that. That's something that's part of the reputation at this point, and that's something that he's going to have to, basically deal with. But again, the team just isn't. The team just does a lot of silly things, and not only does it do a lot of silly things, I think you're also kind of like, all right, why did you just do this? Why did you just do that? And that's kind of been the case. And KJ Lewis is kind of emblematic of that, to be honest with you, in that he is he's just a dude that he hasn't progressed. I think it's fair to say in the way that there's been times where he's looked really good, but then there's also times too where it's like, okay, well, this is regression. And I think that's what's so frustrating for some Arizona fans is that that he's capable of being a good player. That he's capable of, what he's capable of doing, and it just feels like this just continues to happen time and time again. And you just kind of wonder after a while, are you getting any better? And I don't know that you can really make that case. So Like I said, that's just a frustrating aspect to this team. Jaden Bradley, then, you need Jaden Bradley to be able to get back into kind of his peak form. I think the concern, though, that you have with Jaden Bradley, and we've been talking about this for quite a while now, is Jaden Bradley wearing down. Because, again, Jaden Bradley's never played these kind of minutes in his career. You don't have another ball handler on the team, and that's something that's something that's certainly coming into play. Now, that doesn't mean, though, that they don't have the advantage against the team that they're going for. And that doesn't mean that they can't make a big impact there as well. But first, prize picks, my friend. Check out prize picks. March basketball, we are in March, is here, and there's no better way to get in on the action with the prize picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. All right, with prize picks, you pick more. And here's the deal, though. Let's just say that you like Jason Tatum for over 22 points and Anthony Davis for under 11 rebounds because you think he's probably going to get hurt during the game. Put those ones together. That's what makes it fun. And again, prize picks is taking off. A lot of people are using it now, and there's a reason they're using it because, again, it's quick, it's fun, and you can look at it and you can say, okay, I think this player is going to do this. I think that player is going to do this. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you place your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $50 instantly after you place your first $5 lineup. Prize picks, run your game. Again, it's cool stuff because, again, you can go with what you think a player is going to do. You can go with what you think, a certain guy is going to do. It is fun. Again, everybody using prize picks, and they are using prize picks for a reason. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke, locked on your team every day. All right, now let's talk a little bit here about the perimeter play then for ASU. Now, again, Joson Sanon has kind of taken on kind of a cult mythology here in Tucson. A lot of people, hoping that, or I think a lot of people wish that, he was here. I don't, because I don't think he's very good. He did have a 30-point game, but again, when you're playing terrible teams, sooner or later, somebody's got to score the basketball. I think he's proving that. But be that as it may, he is a player that, you got him, you got Alston Mason, you got Bashir Jihad, even though he's a power forward, he kind of plays on the perimeter. These guys are, I mean, it's weird because it's not a good team, but it's a dangerous team. It's a team that can win some games, but you also lost Freeman. Freeman's a punk. He's the one that headbutted Caleb Love. Somehow didn't get any suspension whatsoever. And on top of that, he was just booted off the team. He's punk. So that's obviously a loss for them. Arizona just has better players across the board than him, than him, and it just kind of is what it is. Then when you look at the so that's it, that across the board, this is a lineup that Arizona should be able to feast on because they're just better. I don't know that ASU has anybody that would start at Arizona, especially on the perimeter. Then let's talk a little bit about the post game. With the post game, it is if ASU is without Jaden Quaintance, I don't believe they have any chance. Quaintance is a monster. I like Quaintance a lot. He's the kind of guy that I could see being in the NBA for a long time because he is like I said, he's a good prospect. He's a good kid. He plays hard, and that's another thing too. I think in this day and age, you learn to really kind of respect guys that play hard, and he plays hard. He is a guy that he is a he's a good basketball player. He needs to go somewhere else next season because being at ASU, he's not going to maximize what he can do, but he plays hard. He gets a lot of rebounds. He blocks shots. He's just, there aren't a lot of players in college basketball like him. And not only are there not a lot of players in college basketball like him, he's also a guy that is he's also a guy too that is it's kind of a player where you're like, okay, why are you at ASU? Arizona, though, I thought Henry did a very, very good job. I thought did a very, very good job. And not only did Henry do a excuse me, not only did Henry do a very good job, he was also a guy who was he got dunked on against Jane Quaintance. Guess what? J, uh, Jaden Quaintance is one of those people that um, he's going to dunk on you. So Henry went right back and dunked on him. Henry, Tobe Awaka, they got to run this game. Period, point blank. They've got to destroy this squad, and they're better than these dudes up front. They are. There's just no way around it. They've got to be able to win this one. And if they win this one, then I think Arizona is going to be in pretty good shape. As a matter of fact, I don't think that they can win this game without a good performance from somebody up front. And again, like I said, I don't see Jaden Quaintance playing. Now, if I think we are at the stage though where if Quaintance doesn't play, you start looking around and you're like, who are those other guys though that you could get? And honestly, man, they don't have really any other thing. They don't have really any other situation where it's like, okay, those dudes are ready to go. Amir Ali, who I like some of these guys, but Amir Ali, if Arizona's losing a game because of Amir Ali, then Arizona wasn't going to win that game to begin with. And that's kind of the same thing with Sean Phillips as well. Uh, you know, a physical specimen, dude out of LSU, obviously, but he is, if he beats Arizona, if he's the reason that the Arizona loses that game, then well, so be it. You know, they that's just kind of the way it is. So that's don't really know what else to say in that situation. He is a that's just kind of the way it is. So we'll see. Now, as far as Arizona goes up front, you gotta, like I said, you gotta destroy him. And Carter Bryant, this would be a nice game for Carter to get going as well. Carter is obviously a great 3-point shooter. Carter's got a little bit of the KJ thing going on though, where you're kind of like, what are you really doing here, KJ? But Carter is just kind of that young, like we talked about, he's that young fawn in the field where, he's just very young. Carter, I think, could really, really, really benefit by coming back for another season. I think you go from being like the 26th pick and you're wondering, all right, well, does this team really have anything invested in you, to being a guy who is looking at that 12th to 13th pick, something like that. If that happens, and I think that can absolutely happen if he comes back, because you got it. I mean, you've got the 3-and-D thing right now. You can tell that he can block shots, he can get up and down the court, he can shoot threes, he can just do, like I said, he can do a lot of different things that contribute to winning basketball, and that is that's an underrated quality, and I think Carter can do exactly that. So, but he would be much better, I think, coming back. But this is still a game, though, where you would expect Carter to go off, because I don't know that ASU has anybody that can guard Carter. And I would be surprised all season if ASU has anybody that can guard Carter. But this is a game, I mean, we need to be honest here. This is a game that Arizona should win. I mean, it's just a game Arizona should win. I don't know how else to really put this one. They should win this game, and they should win this game handily. I know I get the whole rivalry thing, and I get that, anything can happen. I don't really subscribe to that, though, in a game like this where one team has so much to play for. The other team is also kind of on the verge of quitting. You've got a coach who I don't think really wants to be there, and, that's just kind of what it comes down to. So I'm predicting an Arizona victory here. I think Arizona's going to win this game fairly handily, but there's going to be one key though that we need to talk about. But first, FanDuel. All right, here's the deal. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on this than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. And you got March Madness here as well. Who doesn't like betting money on March Madness? As you got games here as well. All right, here's the deal. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet hits. That's again, how cool is that? And just visit fanduel.com to join today. That's fanduel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. You've also got the NCAA tournament coming up here as well. And is there anything that's more enjoyable to bet on than the NCAA tournament? No, I do not think so. That is going to, like I said, it's a lot of fun. So you want to check it out. Again, FanDuel also. You can bet in game, you can bet before, you can bet futures. It's kind of your one stop shop, and there's a reason that everybody is using it. So, again, check it out. FanDuel, my friends. FanDuel. Thanks for keeping it locked on Wildcats and making this your first listen of the day. I am your host, Mike Luke. Okay, now, Arizona, I think as long as Arizona just doesn't let ASU shoot wide open threes, Arizona's going to win this game because Arizona's just better across the board. I think Arizona's going to win this game by, I don't know, I think Arizona's going to probably win this game by, what? 12 to 18 points, somewhere in there. Arizona's just better. They got a lot to play for. Plus, I would imagine it's going to be senior night. They're going to be super motivated, and they know that this is their last game here before going off to the Big 12 tournament and then to the NCAA tournament. And I think that's just kind of where this does rely. So that's where I'm at now. As far as ASU goes, I would imagine this is also the last time we're going to see Bobby Hurley. Listen, Bobby Hurley, I thought crossed a major line against Arizona in that game where he started talking about Caleb Love. There is a reason that coaches do not bring up other players. It is completely unprofessional. Other coaches don't do it because guess what? You don't speak on that. And if he wanted to say, you know what, I thought Arizona was dirty, I thought Arizona was what, fine. Direct that to Tommy Lloyd. Don't talk about players. Don't talk about other players. That's like somebody talking about somebody's kid. If you want to put down the kid, well, guess what? You go at the parent. You don't go at the kid. I thought that was incredibly crummy what Bobby did. And again, then he doubled down and didn't apologize for it. And he said that the only mistake he made was not shaking Tommy Lloyd's hand. That's Bush League. That sucks. Don't know how else to put it. That sucks. And I shouldn't probably really be that surprised by Bobby Hurley doing that, but it is what it is. Like I said, I just thought it was kind of a repulsive moment, to be honest with you, and something that I don't know that I've ever really seen another coach do before. Not good, not good, not good. So that being said, this is a guy, too, when he's talking about lack of class, this and that. I mean, there's no coach in college basketball that exudes less class on the sideline than Bobby Hurley. He screams the entire time. He loses his emotions. He goes into little tantrums. He flies off the handle. That's what Bobby Hurley does. So when Bobby Hurley is sitting there and he's talking about a lack of class, a lack of this, a lack of that, you're kind of like, dude, come on, really? That's really what that's really the hill that you are looking to die on. Come on. And I couldn't believe it when he said it. And then when he doubled down, I think if you're ASU, though, you got to get rid of him. I don't think there's any way to come back. You know exactly what you are. And here's the thing. If you're not going to win games and you're going to have all this drama as well, at least have somebody that's not going to make your program look stupid. Bobby Hurley makes the program look stupid. They don't get better. And on top of that, they don't really have any system in place. Nobody's ever watched an ASU basketball game and they're like, oh, yeah, I didn't see that one coming. Nobody really sees that. And I think, honestly, I think most ASU fans are done. I could be wrong on that, but I think most ASU fans are kind of out on Bobby Hurley as well. And I would be too, because that would just get really annoying, especially if you run no system and you know that your team is going to basically lose and you're going to lose with absolutely no character. I think that's the problem that kind of comes in to play with all of this. So again, I'm going Arizona. I'm going 12 to 18 points. I'm going 12 to 18 points, something like that. And I think it's going to be a fairly easy win for Arizona. All right, now tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit. We are a football school as well. We are going to talk about the NFL Combine, where Arizona guys did really, really well. Hard to believe that Jonas Sabanea tested really well. That does not surprise me in the least. You've also got Teteroa McMillan, who was scoring off the charts as well with some of the scouts in different areas. But overall, it was a group of guys at Arizona that I thought performed spectacularly. And you could be having multiple first-round picks also. You put you could have 3 first-round picks in a 2-year process for Arizona, and that's something that obviously hasn't happened here before, and it would be something that would be really, really cool to say. But on that note, bear down, back the A. I'm your host, Mike Luke, and again, very much appreciate you making Locked On Wildcats your first listen of the day. Locked On, your team every day. Go Cats, like I said, 12 to 18 point victory, something like that. We'll be back with you tomorrow.